Oh, my God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, if I could have a night like this every night. And oh, if my wife were always here to see it. Thank you, Harris, for all your exaggerations. And thanks to all who have already spoken to you. To our brilliant Master of Ceremonies, Donna Shalala. Hasn't she been fantastic? To Father Hesburgh, wherever you may be, has he departed after giving us his blessing? Maybe he has. And thanks to Ted Sorensen. What eloquence we heard from him this evening. Kennedy would be proud of what you said tonight. And thanks to Lorette Rupie. She's out here somewhere. I saw her stand up. There she is. And thanks to our new director, Mark Gearing. He's here somewhere. There he is. There he is, back there. I'm envious of him because he, as you probably know, is the youngest director ever to hold the job. Up until then, I thought I had a chance to still be the youngest director, but he has eclipsed me by at least a half a dozen years. We're lucky to have him. The Peace Corps is going to prosper under his leadership. I'm sure of it. But I'm concerned, really, tonight, and have been for a little while, about the Peace Corps and its prosperity, if you will. I remember a long time ago, 1964, at least some of the people here, I think a few of them hadn't even been born. I was in Thailand and was welcomed by the Foreign Minister of Thailand. He gave a very brief speech, but 4 sentences from that speech stuck with me forever, and they've been framed and hanging on a wall in my office wherever I went ever since then. And he said this from a member of the cabinet, the King of Thailand. It is indeed striking that this most important idea, the most powerful idea in recent times, of a Peace Corps of youth, mingling, working with youth, should come from the mightiest nation on earth, the United States. Many of us who did not know about the United States thought of this great nation as a wealthy nation, a powerful nation, endowed with great material strength and many powerful weapons. But how many of us know that in the United States, ideas and ideals are also powerful? That is the secret of your greatness, of your might, which is not imposing or crushing people, but is filled with the hope of future goodwill and understanding. To me, that statement from a foreign minister of a country that can't even speak English, he couldn't speak English, exemplifies almost fully what has made the Peace Corps an extraordinary movement within our own country, but a movement which has captured the imagination and raised the spirit of human beings all over the world. I mention it tonight because, truthfully, I think the time has come for all of us to get together, not only those who are present here tonight, but everybody who believes what that Foreign Minister of Thailand said long ago, get together and really change profoundly what's going on in the United States today. To me, it means that there's a lot of work for all of the returned Peace Corps volunteers to do, a lot of work for all present and former staff members to do, and a lot of work for all believers in the Peace Corps to do. First of all, I think we need to participate in a profound rethinking and recommitment to a Peace Corps greatly expanded, because the need for the Peace Corps is much, much larger today than in 1961 when Kennedy launched this movement. Second, I think we need to present a new explanation to the Americans of 1996. We must explain why the Peace Corps is just as important, maybe more important, to the future vitality of our country than the Peace Corps was when President Kennedy challenged Americans to make it work. Some of you know that I'm a dreamer, and I've even dreamed that maybe Bob Dole and Bill Clinton and, yes, Pat Buchanan all would have guaranteed to enlarge the Peace Corps if elected president. Actually, why shouldn't they? There is no reason that any one of those men in either party should be reluctant or scared to stand before the American people and say the Peace Corps represents some, if not all, of the best virtues in this society. It stands for everything that America has ever stood for. It stands for everything we believe in and hope to achieve in the world. Sure, we have the biggest army now, we've got the biggest defense budget now, we got the biggest CIA now, we got the biggest this and the biggest that. But let me tell you, a president could say, or a candidate could say, there's nothing we have that better exemplifies the spirit of the United States than the Peace Corps, and we'll send you twice as many next year, or 4 or 5 times as many volunteers who will themselves personify what American democracy talks about. After all, what got this country going? What power did Jefferson and Madison and Adams and Washington possess other than power of the mind, power of the heart, and power of the soul? Think of it. I think there was a total population in this nation of 13 colonies of something like 3 or 4 million people. A lot of them were not highly educated. Some were. But they had the nerve, they had the gall, they had the guts to write a Declaration of Independence and a Constitution, and they presented it to the entire world. To the Tsar in Russia, to the King in England, to the King in France, to all the powers, as if they, this little group of people over here, had enough brains or intelligence or vision to propose something that everyone, regardless of what country they lived in, should subscribe to and act upon. Who's doing that today? I don't know, truthfully. I know our Defense Department is actively studying and restudying its role and functions and needs. They're trying to justify the need for themselves and for their work. The CIA is struggling to define reasons for its continuing existence now that its target enemy no longer exists. Many people are saying, why do we need a CIA when there's no KGB? Within the cabinet, the Secretary of Education and the Secretary of Commerce are both struggling to explain the need for the continued existence of their departments. And so are many other U.S. governmental agencies. But what about the Peace Corps? Is the Peace Corps less necessary for the 21st century than during the years when Kennedy started it? Can Peace Corps volunteers working overseas today perform better than host country nationals or better than private sector business leaders and workers? Is the Peace Corps needed at all now that there's no Cold War? Sure, we have 130,000 returned Peace Corps volunteers here at home, but can we prove what their presence contributes to the American economy, what all of us right here contribute to the American economy, or to American politics, or to American spiritual values? Have we changed anything in America profoundly for the better? Fortunately, we have cabinet members like Donna here. We have senators. We have congressmen, all of whom have been volunteers. But most Americans think the Peace Corps should be larger than this. Do they think that? Maybe 5 or 10 times bigger. What reasons or justification or objectives do we Peace Corps veterans have for our own country and for all the people of the world in the next century? I don't care about that last century, which is practically finished. Does our Peace Corps experience give us any special ability or clarity to see what the 21st century will need? Suppose all nations became just like us in politics and economics and in democratic values. All of them, George, they all became like us. Is that it? Will the mission of our country and our raison d'etre be fulfilled and finished? If not, what do we have to offer beyond representative democracy, private business freedom, growth in personal wealth, plus equal rights for all within the law? I don't mean to diminish those rights and achievements. It's taken us 210 years to get where we are tonight. Lots of nations haven't even gotten to where we are. But let's look ahead 10 years. More of them will be where we are, I hope. Many of them are striving to do so. Even Russia is. Despite the stories we read about the gangsters and the crooks over there, there are people over there making sense, even under our system. But what? What do we then do? Did we say, that's fine, it's all over, there's nothing left to live for? Well, I think there's a lot left to live for. I love this country as much as anybody in this room. I'm as proud as I possibly can be of what's already been achieved here. But I don't think we have to follow Pat Buchanan into saying we all ought to stay home or retreat into selfishness. Almost every European country today has their own Pat Buchanan. Politicians who rail against every foreigner on earth, and especially against the foreigners in Europe. It's France for the French, Austria for the Austrians, Germany for the Germans, Serbia for the Serbs. Kill those Muslims. Get them out of the way. This country belongs to us. All of you know what I'm saying, and you all know that it's true. Well, what do we all have to propose as an alternative to that? Our country is still young. We are as well placed and experienced as any other civilian organization, all of us here, Peace Corps people. Why don't we, RPCVs and early staff members, express our hopes and convictions concerning the Peace Corps and its mission